This build is insane when dealing damage to a single target. You can deal at least 200,000 plus damage just by using a single ability on your Titan. And that ability is Shield Bash. And you're wondering, how can you be able to deal that much damage on your Shield Bash? I don't really know, but I'll let you know. Of course, everybody knows how Shield Bash works, so I'm just not going to explain it. But whenever you hit a target with Shield Bash, it would suppress the target and also stuns overload champions. It'll give you a little bit of an overshield if you get a final blow with it. And here's how we could be able to get a ton of damage just by using your melee ability. This exotic armor piece, what is that? How do you even pronounce this word? I'm gonna Percarine Greaves. That's how you pronounce it, right? That's what you're gonna use for this build. And for the armor perk, it's called Peregrine Strike. Whenever you activate this perk, it would passively grant plus 20 airborne effectiveness, and after sprinting for 2 seconds, and while you're airborne, your shoulder charge abilities deal 225% increase impact damage. As what I just said, impact damage. So your main goal is to, of course, hit the target. Duh. Well, for me, it's kind of tough because I suck. And here's another tip. If you try to do this on a frozen enemy, it will not take increased melee damage with this exotic boot. So for right now, all you got to do is run around in a circle, try not to get hit by ads, and as soon as you see that perk on the bottom left of your screen, be sure to jump and then shield bash the living hell out of that ad. I feel bad for that ad, not gonna lie. But we can also increase the damage even further with this aspect, offensive bulwark. While you have an overshield or inside a bubble, your grenade charges significantly faster, and you also have increased melee range and damage. See right there, damage, we love damage. And melee final blows extend the duration of your overshield. So with this one, we can also get infinite overshields and also increase damage with your melees. And here is how we can be able to get an overshield. This other void aspect is Bastion. Whenever you cast your super, it would grant you an overshield to nearby allies, but that part doesn't matter. The next part does. Whenever you cast your barricade, it grants you an overshield to yourself and nearby allies, and it also slowly regenerates your overshield when near the barricade to you and your allies, which extends the duration. We're going to be able to have 15 seconds of void overshield non-stop, so we're going to be getting increased melee damage, increased grenade recharge rate, increased melee range, and etc. That is going to be really good. You're going to be like a massive dump truck, just bulldozing every single ad with your melee ability, just bonking, 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 bonking every single thing. And here's another way to, of course, increase your damage even more. We love that, right? You're going to need to use your vortex grenade. I'll explain that later in the video. And for the class ability, I do recommend using the small barricade because of the base cooldown, which is 38 seconds. So you can just keep popping it non-stop. And for your supers, of course, you got to use Ward of Dawn for that extra overshield for your increased ability regeneration rate. So that's pretty good as well. Now for the fragments, there are 4 in total. The first one is Echo of Persistence and increases your duration for overshields and devour. So the overshield would be for 15 seconds. And I do believe devour would be 10 seconds, but I could be wrong, but it is what it is. The next fragment, Echo of Undermining. This is how we can be able to increase our melee damage even more. Your void grenades weaken targets, so all you got to do is, of course, if you're dealing with the champion, stun him, yeet this grenade into his balls, then charge your shield bash, jump in midair, and shield bash him. And the next one benefits for your weapons that we're going to be using for this build, and it's Echo of Instability. When defeating a target with your void grenade, it would grant volatile rounds to your void weapons. This one is by far one of the best fragments for survivability, and it's Echo of Starvation. Whenever you pick up a void breach, that doesn't really matter, or a orb of power, that does matter. It grants devour. Holy mackerel, I'm just thinking about this, and this is going to be super fun when dealing with champions. Goodness gracious. For the weapons, we're going to be using 2 void weapons and 1 exotic. That exotic, I'm pretty sure you guys already know, and is of course the Monte Carlo, because with every Titan build, if you're doing a melee build, you got to use Monte Carlo, because if not, then you're not going to be able to abuse your melee abilities as much as possible. So for Monte Carlo, whenever you get melee kills, it will refill the magazine and also increases melee damage whenever you get a melee kill. And here's the best part about Monte Carlo. When causing damage with this weapon, it would reduce the cooldown for your melees and also has a chance to fully recharge your melee whenever you get a kill. And for the catalyst, I think it's very good for melees, of course. And here's what the catalyst does. Whenever you get 5 stacks of Markov chain, hold your reload shield button and it will switch to your bayonet. Whenever you get a kill or poke them with your bayonet, it would give you half of your melee energy. So what you got to do here is, of course, get a shield bash kill to get 5 times Markov chain. Once you do that, poke them in the butt and you have Markov chain again because that bayonet counts as a melee. So you're just going to be poking and poking and poking and poking every single ad until they get pissed off at you. And you can just keep shield bashing as well. Now for the void melee. Why melee? Now for the void weapons. First one is on the energy weapon slot and it's no composure. The perks that you should run on this fusion rifle is feeding frenzy and reservoir burst. Reservoir burst stacks with volatile rounds, so you're going to be seeing a ton of explosions just by getting that first initial kill. The second void weapon is, of course, who would have guessed, the commemoration. And the perks that you should run are reconstruction and killing tally. And also the intrinsic trait on the commemoration is pretty good, but it's not that broken because we already have Monte Carlo, but I still want to let you guys know. The origin trait is Bray Inheritance. When dealing damage, regenerates a small amount of ability energy. It's not that much as what it just said, but I guess, you know, it is what it is. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention that you can be able to stun every single champion in the entire game this season. Why? Let me show you. For the seasonal mods, there's anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable fusion rifle, and also overload machine gun. And here are what seasonal mods I was using for this build. The first one is gotta be elemental orbs void. Whenever you get a kill with your void weapons that matches your subclass, it would have a chance to drop a void elemental orb, which deals volatile damage whenever you get a hit from that elemental orb. And that would be on the 3rd column slot. And on the 4th column, there are 2 mods for that column. The first one is elemental fury. Whenever you stun a champion, it takes bonus damage from your abilities. And who would have guessed we're using abilities for this build? So that's how we deal even more damage with the shield bash. The second one is refreshing pickups. Picking up an elemental orb grants energy to your least powered ability. And the last 2 seasonal mods are going to be on the 5th column. And the first one is monochromatic maestro. Whenever you deal damage with your abilities, it would give a 10% increased damage to your weapons. And if you'll deal weapon damage, it would give a 10% increased damage to your abilities for 5 seconds. So it's basically an infinite weapon damage boost, as long as you're using the weapons that match your subclass. And the last one is good for ammo and is elemental munitions. Whenever you get an elemental orb final blow, it would have a chance to drop special or heavy. Let me show you guys what stats you should be running for this build. You got to be running resilience and discipline because we already have devour for this build, so recovery is not going to matter. So you got to go for discipline and resilience. Most likely discipline because we're using our vortex nades to weaken the target because we're getting a ton of overshield. So I think, yeah, maybe you should go for discipline first, then resilience. Now, let me speed run through the mods that you'll need for this build, starting with the helmet, and then we're going to work our way from the bottom. For the helmet, you're going to use Dynamo, Harmonic Siphon, and Hands On. For the gauntlets, you're going to use Hands On, Impact Induction, and Momentum Transfer. Onto the chest, you're going to use Harmonic Resistance, Melee Damage Resistance, and Charged Up. And on your leg armor, you're going to use Insulation, Void Weapon Surge, and Innervation. And last but not least, on your Titan mark, you're going to want to use Reaper, Powerful Attraction, and Outreach. And if you would like to see all of the mods on one screen, it would show up right now as what you're seeing on screen. So all you got to do is, take a picture and bada bing, bada boom. It would just be right here chilling for like a couple seconds and then that thing will disappear. Now, let me show you guys how you can use this build efficiently. So first, pretty sure you have all of your abilities charged up and ready to go. So if you see a champion in front of you, be sure to stun him. Then yeet your grenade onto his feet to make him weakened. Once he's weakened, be sure to run around in circles like a headless chicken to charge up your shield bash. Once that thing is charged, be sure to run towards him, jump in the air to see if you proc your boots. Once you do, shield bash him and then he'll die or he'll fall over. Either or. He's dead either way. Then after that, use your Monte Carlo or your void weapons to either clear out ads or give yourself more melee ability energy. So you can just rinse and repeat. And also be sure to use your rally barricade to give yourself your void overshield to increase all of your abilities and stuff when you're gonna yeet your champion. So rally barricade, then stun the champion, then afterwards throw your grenade, charge your shield bash, and then bonk them. And then of course you gotta jump too. And if you made it this far into the video, I have a question for you. What is your favorite light subclass in Destiny 2? 2. For me, it would have to be solar. What are your favorite light subclasses in Destiny 2? Woo-wee, I like, oh my goodness, I just like talked so much, so I'm just gonna like go to the restroom and take a piss because my bladder is about to explode and I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm probably gonna pee all over the floor. See you in the next video. Love you. Bye.